Like, is Disaster Dragons even a thing anymore?
They're not going to be after this.
Yeah.
Like, short of, like, somehow putting in triple lad and finding tribute fodder for that. Like, that's the only thing you can really do.
The last stuff I have here is just kind of random other stuff that I was either tossed around originally or just came up in conversation.
Can we talk about Brio?
Yeah, Brio's on there. Go ahead,
Okay.
talk about Brio.
Okay. People don't understand why Brio has to be banned, and it is just like Future Fusion. There are so many, like, just problems that it has caused since the beginning of its conception that it needs to go. In the very beginning, it was stuck with, like, premature Brio, and, like, what's it called? Symbol of Heritage? It was like the whole Juloran loop, like that thing. Brio had a hand in that, too. You could just bounce cards infinitely. Because Brio didn't have the clause in it, once per turn, you can discard one card. No, it is infinitely. Which means that you can just do this ad infinitum, and you can bounce cards that you should only have one of, like Trishula. In Infernities, there was a loop where you can just infinitely, like, make Trishula, bounce it back to your deck. Yeah, even at 1. You can still bounce it back, infinitely make it over and over again. That's a problem. And I feel like... I think there was a problem with it in, like, Crystal Beast or something somebody was talking about. There's, like, some sort of infinite draw loop or something. Anyways, the point is, there's too many problems.
Told me this. But the thing with Brio is, normally, like, the only argument you can make to me about why it's fine is that it has the drawback of you have to discard something. Is it discard or send?
No, it's discard.
It's discard?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's a downside. I mean, you have to get rid of a card from your hand to do anything. Well, realistically, you could send something like Dandelion or something
or that benefits...
Or any of the Atlanteans. Just, like... There's so many cards that would benefit from being sent to grave from hand.
And again,
it's not a problem at all.
And since it's not a once per turn thing, if you have a handful of Atlanteans, you can just freaking load them all out and just get all of their effects. That's broken. Like, that should not be a thing. And obviously, I guess it won't be a thing.
Anyway, do your tour guide little thing because we actually have it on there.
Okay. Nobody said tour guide would get hit. Tour guide getting hit. It has to. And it's because anytime an engine comes out, Konami gives it the axe. It happened with, like, the Destiny Hero Draw E-Tele engine, because otherwise you're not going to play new cards. You're just going to stick to your old engine because it's good. I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't. Plan engine, Cat Synchro engine, etc., they've all gotten hit. It's just a recurring pattern. That's what Konami does. Next, it'll probably be like the Nimble Synchro engine, like a year from now or something like that.
Nimble Synchro is a thing.
It will be.
I keep forgetting that. I'm gonna love it.
See, the thing about Tour Guide, though, is people still play it. Like, it's still a really good card.
That too, it's perfectly fine.
You can still special summon it from your hand.
Yeah.
The only thing is, you can't do it twice. You're not going to be making 2 Tour Guide plays in one game. You're going to be doing 1, and that's balanced. Because now you're not going to be like, oh, turn 1 Zen mains, and then later on, like, make a Zen, not a Zen main, like a Leviathan Dragon or whatever. It's balanced, because you can't do it as much now. And
I
also,
mean, you could still realistically target Sangan, it's just there's less of a reason to now.
Also, it hits Rabbit.
Yeah, it does.
Because if you hit every other deck, Rabbit will survive somehow. Because Rabbit is one of those decks where it's just like a mishmash of good cards. You could hit something in it, and something else will replace it. So Tour Guide and Rabbit getting hit at the same time definitely slows that deck down, which is needed.
I have Avarice on there because I saw it go into possibly 2. I think that's honestly, it's such a bad move because there are so many decks that just, if they have 2 Avarice, they're not going to stop their turn.
Yeah.
They're going to play out their entire turn, they're going to plus like 9 and just not end. Like any kind of Synchro-based deck, which I like that they're bringing kind of Synchros back, like what would benefit?
Synchros are my favorite card.
Nimble, would Nimble benefit? I mean, they want stuff engraved, but it realistically...
Nimble, but here's the thing. Plants could realistically come back with Avarice 2.
That's true.
You basically have 6 Tengus.
If you think about it...
That's amazing. Love that.
If you think about it, wind-ups, if they draw the perfect hand, could still attempt the hand loop.
Yeah.
Using Avarice.
No, yeah.
If they get, like, the ideal hand. But...
If they have 2 Avarice, they definitely can. Because you could just, like, you could just tribute 1, and then Avarice, and then tribute the other one, and then Avarice. Like...
If you fill your grave well enough.
Yeah.
Realistically, you should.
Yeah.
If you do it right. But, honestly, I don't want to see Avarice go to 2.
It's just, the games drag on so much longer than they have to with Avarice. Like, the game will be almost done, and you'll be like, top deck Avarice. And I know that's a good thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a really good thing that, you know, the tides can turn, blah, blah, blah. But if you're about to lose, I mean, it's just wrong for you to +1, and then just, your deck is now back to full, like, your Rats, your Mighties, your Tengus, your Insectors are all back into your deck, and you draw into one of them, that's a little wrong, like it is.
Yeah.
I would love to play with 2 Avarice, but it should not happen.
I have Heavy on there. You want to talk about Heavy real quick? Because that's just kind of a short talk.
I'm kind of conflicted. See, I feel like Heavy Storm and 3 MSTs is retarded. Like, it's just dumb. Because, I mean, you can't have both. You can't do, like, Heavy Storm and 3 MSTs. Because people say Heavy Storm is, like, a necessary evil. And, I mean, it is. But when you have 3 MSTs, it completely, like, nulls out the skill level in Heavy Storm. Because it's basically, like, you just have to set your back row anyways. Because if they have Heavy Storm, they have Heavy Storm. If they don't have Heavy Storm, then you're fine. But, I mean, it's basically, if you don't set them all, then you'll lose because they'll double MST you anyways. If they Heavy Storm you, then you would have lost anyways. It doesn't matter. It has to be MST to 1, Heavy Storm to 1, or Heavy Storm to 0. Because it's not like we don't have Night Beam, we don't have Execution, Nobleman of Extermination.
Nobleman of Extermination.
Extermination.
We have Lila, we have Breaker, we have monsters that could deal with it. I mean, if skill drain's a problem, skill drain's a problem.
That, I feel like that would be like the biggest problem is like skill drain decks. Because Heavy Storm puts a dent in them. And like Gravekeepers and other stun decks too. But it should be one or the other, it should not be both.
I'm honestly, I've never liked Heavy. I like having another reason to run Starlight Road, because I like using Starlight Road, because it's a really dick move, but...
I hate Starlight Road. It's so dumb.
It is.
Like, I understand 2 Torrentials, it's better, but it's such a worthless card most of the time. It's like, you would much rather it be just a freaking Trap Hole, a Raigeki Break, anything that can deal with, like, actual monsters, instead of, like, total situational, like, sweeping board measures, like a Heavy Storm or a Dark Hole or a Torrential, which aren't going to happen very often. It just kills consistency.
But I would prefer Heavy Storm over Giant Trunade. I'll say that. I'm not a fan of Giant Trunade at all.
I mean, to a certain extent, I understand. I also kind of feel like with Giant Trunade, you have to win that turn.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't win, you lose.
Why'd you play Giant Trunade if you're not going to win? Like,
no, what I mean is like,
time.
No, if you got stopped by like a Fader or a Gorge or something,
true.
You freaking lose. Because now you -1, now you're like unprotected because your hand is probably played out on the field at that point. Like if you're Heretics or Windups or whatever. You get Dark Hold, you get Black Rosed, etc. Like you lose.
Gishki. You want to talk about Gishki? So I don't know anything about Gishki.
Okay, Gust Kraken, a lot of lists have Gust Kraken at 1, and a lot of people, like, if it doesn't get hit, are predicting, like, Gishkis are ridiculous next format. They're not that good. We're not going to have M7 until December, and that's, like, the whole heart and, like, soul of that deck, unless you draw into, like, triple surface to opening hand, like, ridiculous other Gishkis, and, like, you just got hand. And even then, here's the thing. It's not like the Wind Loop where they can end with a Zen Mighty. They have to end with like a Photon Streak Bouncer. And people don't realize... I mean, yeah, Streak Bouncer's good. But it's not as good as Zen Mains where you can just like have a wall. And you can just plus even harder after you pop their entire hand. Gishkis... I would love to see Gust Kraken hit. I would. Because hand destruction is just one of the most broken things in the game. Like, there's a reason Painful Choice is gone. Yeah. There's a reason why Confiscation is gone. There's a reason why Trap Dushu, one of, like, the most situational hand destruction cards ever, is gone. And that is because it is the most broken mechanic in the game. There should be a place in the game where it's just safe. Like, you don't have to worry about things happening in your hand. That's the thing. Nothing targets the hand because that's your safe zone. Nothing should be able to trust that.
I hate Mind Crush.
I love Mind Crush.
I hate it because they're like, reveal to confirm? No, you don't get to see my hand because you call a card. Like,
no, but like you could be cheating. Like, you realize why.
Yeah, I know why. I just hate that some people will do it just to see your hand.
I do that for like a Gores. Like, I will -1 for, like, just to make sure you don't have Gores. That is, or an Effect Veiler. Because they have to all go unless you can chain them all. Like,
like the only time I'm ever not like bothered by is when they go Mind Crush TG Striker, and it's like, all right, you can only run one. Like, you don't get to see my hand.
That's true. That is true. But that deck won't be as big of a threat without like Zeo Gigas. Gus Kraken and all that is situational. It's not that good in Japan. So, I mean, either way, you shouldn't be too worried about it, honestly.
The last thing I have up there is Earth, the agent, that is. And the reason I put it up there is because I saw on one list it was going to 2. And I'll be honest, guys, if you don't know me by now, I'm a TG person. Like, that was just my all-time favorite deck. I love that deck. And as I was reading down the last ban list, I saw Striker went to 1. And I cried tears, not manly tears, very girly tears. I melted on the inside. I died a little that day. I'm willing to admit that. And when I saw Earth was going back to 2, I was looking at the semi-limited, and I was like, oh my god, is TG Striker going to be on here? And then I didn't see it, and I thought, oh my god, is it going to 3? Am I getting my TG Striker back? And then I didn't see it, and I got sad again. And I'm angry. I'm not angry because they're bringing back agents, because agents are now dead, and I'd like to see them back in play, because it means there's another deck you have to worry about, and it's not just like 3 meta decks out there.
I hate that.
But
that's
I want my Striker back, and I think that Earth was the wrong thing to bring back. I think they should have brought Striker back, because if you're going to run TG agents, you're just a dick, and I hate you, and you're ruining the game for me because you're making my deck... I'm very salty. Are you saying salty? I don't...
All of the salt. Like, all of the salt right now.
Yeah, Okay, when Plants got hit, how did you feel?
It was going to happen. They were the best deck. Like,
you know what I thought about Striker?
They top 16 all the time.
You know what I thought
it
about
had
Striker?
to happen. I was sad, but it had to happen.
Okay, this is how I felt with Striker. Oh, it's a problem in Japan? Is it a problem here? No? Are you still going to hit it? Yeah. Yeah, you are. Oh, that's another thing. Unless you see, like, a ban list where they're hitting all of the Japanese, like, OCG meta, and then just not even caring about TCG, that's the real list. I guarantee that's the real list. Like, if it just annihilates Inzectors, slightly touches Tour Guide, and then, like, maybe addresses 2 other decks, that's the real one. And then brings back something that has nothing to do with anything. Like Tsukiyomi. Let's just bring that back.
Yeah.
That should be a thing.
No, it should be a thing.
You know what we need? Yalagarasu. End the video. That's it. I'm done.